All right. Welcome, everybody, to the February 13th edition of SIG Service Catalog. The year is 2017. The time is now. So, I tell you what, I'll post a link to the agenda document into the chat. And I'm actually going to switch the order of agenda items up really quick. And I just killed my link to the chat in my cut buffer, so here we go. All right. That is not what I meant to paste. All right, I'm kind of done with computers. What the heck?
I got it.
No.
Ah.
All right.
Almost.
All right. First up, Aaron, you have the table. Lay it on us.
Quick announcement. I mentioned a few times, including in the last week's meeting, that I'm working on a third-party resource-based API server.
Yep.
That pull request is currently code complete. It is pull request number 338, and the link for it is coming into the chat right now. It is big. It is all necessary to go in at once. So I'd encourage you to go in and start reviewing it, make comments, etc. I am currently testing it along with some others, I believe. Testing it in a real cluster, seeing what breaks, what works. And I would like to get this in as soon as possible after it's verified working in a real cluster. So that's it for me.
So this takes the how are you? You're touching it with kube control, or but you're touching the API server part with the normal objects and stuff?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. So and that works? Amazing.
You better let us know.
Still trying to
Can't
test
hear you,
it.
Paul.
I was just going to say the answer to that question better not have been no. It does not work.
Okay. No, I'm
Well, I mean, it's not merged yet, right? So I can't say that everything works because I haven't gotten that far. But that's why it's just code complete and not working completely, because I haven't verified everything yet.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll
So
tell you
maybe
what
it's-
currently
yeah.
works. That server can start up. It can create all the third-party resource types, and a GAT will work given a third-party resource that's already in the cluster. But
Sweet.
I haven't gotten to create or any of the other CRUD actions.
So you can get a TPR that's already placed in the cluster as our versioned API and it works?
I don't know what you mean by as our version API.
Well,
but I'll tell you what I did.
Okay.
So I put a TPR into the cluster of the format that the TPR-based API server expects. And then I did a kubectl get against the service catalog API server, and it can properly grab the TPR and then send it back down to kubectl.
That's sweet. That's
to be
exactly
specific,
what I
I
want.
did a get-no YAML, and it shows the YAML version. So very hacky version of get works.
All right, give this man a
Definitely
round
not
of
in a
applause.
shelter state.
Everybody unmute. Yeah, there we go.
That's great. That's exactly what I want to
That's
hear.
good medicine.
Do we need to make sure watch and all that stuff works as well?
Oh, yes.
Probably.
Yes, but I'll caveat that by saying if watch doesn't work in this PR, that's okay. Everything that this PR will merge is optional functionality, and everything will still default to etcd. So what I would like to do is get in the majority of operations in this PR, and things that don't work still will be issues in GitHub and then fixed in follow-ups.
I think that is sensible.
Sweet.
Okay, let's see. What is next? Morgan. Oh, sorry. Aaron, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. Morgan.
Well, I'll do two things. Basically, I just wanted to, in case anybody was worried about that 368 PR, go, yeah, no, I understand that we missed out on some arguments, and we need that to merge so that we can get the controller to do its thing, and Paul can do his thing with the controller and the informers, and those directories look good. They point at the other generated clients, and the only thing I could think of is maybe we need to make sure that everything gets generated in order when we go ahead and do that. But otherwise, look good, and we need it, and so merge it. As far as I've got the basic client thing working today for the beginning of a test, and I'm trying to understand how to pass arguments and stuff to it to make it an actual Go test or something rather than a bunch of scripts. But it's getting there. I've got something that pings the server, creates a resource, lists resources, and deletes. So it's just further iterations on that. Done.
Sweet. All right. So next up, if I can find the agenda with my hundreds of tabs I have open, is me. All right. So PSA. I have a pull request that is open for an informer-based controller. Informers, for those who might be watching, not having binge watched all of prior SIG service catalog meetings, or those who have just forgotten. Informer is like a cache that list watches the API server. It's a fundamental building block of controllers. And it's also a thing that does not add bug surface to our project if we reuse it from upstream. So I have had some blocker bugs for one of my other work lives, and some just soft things that have kept me from verifying that it works yet. I got a building over the weekend. Please do take a look, folks that would like to learn what the skeleton of a Kubernetes controller looks like. And I'm hoping to have that established as working, in a pod with the API server and Kube API server in the next couple days, so we can start porting in the business logic from the existing TPR-based controller. And that's pretty much what I've got. I'm happy to answer questions. Possibly, we can do one of these one-off meetings if folks want to go over this thing. I'm happy to do that. Let me know. And next up, Jess Fraz, Pips.
Cool. So I think the proposal for the pod injection policy is basically ready to go. We just kind of need someone to do the honors of saying it's good. If there's nothing else that needs to be fixed, and then I'll open the PR that I am just finishing up to implement it. That's about it.
Hey, is the person who's going to give us that approval already fully engaged?
I'm assigned to it.
Are you the one who's going to be able to approve it? Or
Yeah, I think so. I would like API review to take a pass at it, but I mean, I think that the concepts are pretty well baked. They're in line with if I were writing a proposal, the bar of quality I'd want it to be. So I would like someone from API review to take a look at it, but I think it's ready to get implemented, since it's going to be, especially since it's going to be alpha first.
Where is it?
Yeah, I will put a link to it.
Okay.
into the agenda and any other text area you would like me to paste it into.
That's good enough.
Bam. Okay. I'll go ahead and stick it in the chat too. Too slow. Okay. So let me share my screen. After I clear off all, the incriminating evidence about my panda smuggling operation. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Who can see it?
All good.
Okay. So I believe it was Wednesday of last week. We spent a little time getting the gaps that need to be closed to be at MVP1 onto this Google document. And so after that, Doug and Aaron and I spent a little time talking about maybe folks that we think would be good to work on these things. And so I would like to just go through these now. Note there are a couple placeholders that I don't think we're like positive about, but let's go through what they are now so everybody can be on the same page. So the first thing is that we need status sub-resources implemented for the instance and binding API resources. Morgan has already done those, so I'm going to resolve the comment. We need integration tests for the API server and sub-resources. So what is meant by this is that we need like a Golang test, which Morgan is working on right now, that will use the client to create resources, delete them, update them, just exercise them, and then do for the sub-resources to update the status fields for the resources that have them. We have this kind of test in Kubernetes as well, and it's kind of like a bread and butter type of test. So that's what that is. Placeholder for gaps for the CLI experience. There is, so the gaps that we're talking about are that the currently like kubectl, the Kubernetes CLI tool, has to know via code that is compiled into it about resources. And long term, especially since the extension pattern for Kubernetes is one where you build a new API server outside the core, long term, we need the API server to be able to originate information about how to do like which fields to show when you do a get, which fields to show when you do a describe. I don't think that we're going to get that for MVP1. I think that's also okay because this is really more like a polish type thing than a functional gap that we need to close. So Juan and Phil, I know you guys have been talking about this. I know there's a proposal that's open that I don't think we're going to get in 1.6, but maybe we could get in 1.7. And Simon, your name was put out as someone that might be interested in working on this.
Well, he
Yeah.
actually is working on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
How close are we? Do we have an update on the getting the Swagger generated? Is that working?
From what I understand, the Open API is generated. It needs to get merged. So I think that piece of it is done.
And is it served
Yes.
from the server? Okay. Cool. That means we can probably get started on the second piece to see how close we make it.
Okay. So next one up is Informer-based controller skeleton. I already have mentioned what that one is. that I hope will be done like in the next couple of days. I'm going to try to clear my schedule to the greatest possible extent so I can focus on it. Parameter support in the API is, for those that aren't aware, the Open Service Broker API. It lets you specify like a raw blob of JSON or YAML that is in order to communicate parameters. Vile has taken this one. Simon, you're certainly welcome to pitch in on it. I think Vile actually has a pull request for this that needs some tests, but and certainly we need test coverage from an end-to-end perspective on this. But I think Vile's got this one underway. Next up is transplant of behaviors from the TPR prototype. So this is once we have a controller skeleton that is using the reusable stuff from Kubernetes, we can begin porting in the business logic. And this, we had myself and Brendan and Vile on. I'm thinking based on a conversation that I had today that it might be more Vile, and we might need to reassess who's going to be on this one. So I'll ask you all to think to yourselves, if you're familiar with the business logic, if this might be something that you're interested in working on. Then there's implementation of the remaining behaviors, which are deprovision, update, and delete broker. Aaron, I know that you have started working on some of this stuff in the context of the TPR prototype. We thought Kent and Aaron would be good resources to put on this one. Not that you guys aren't human beings, but also for the purposes of getting stuff done, resources is a thing that is used. I do not mean in any way to impugn your humanity, though I do have my doubts about Kent, since he's supposed to be able to like chop a tree down with his raw or his bare hand, something like that. So we might need to just peek and see what's going on inside Kent, verify his humanity, maybe get a small 1 liter sample of blood, something like that.
I don't know what you mean about supposed to be able to.
In what sense?
Oh, I can totally do it.
All right, there you go. I mean, this is not making a great case for humanity, but this is now part of the public record. All right. So next up, integration test for the controller. What is meant by this is that in order to test the controller's interactions with other parts of the system, we need a test that like stands up a controller and mocks out the actually, we don't mock out the API server in the Kubernetes controller integration test. We run an embedded API server, and basically we'll pump resources into the API server and make sure that the interactions with Open Service Broker API go according to plan, and that our resources wind up in the right states. So we had Morgan and Jeff on this. I think that it's the kind of work that is easy to parallelize. And so if we have anybody on the call that's interested in pitching in, don't hesitate to say something in Slack. So next one, EDEs. There's the EDE pattern and infrastructure. And what is meant by that is like, one, do we have an EDE system that integrates with GitHub? And two, does the pattern of how you write those EDEs work, in the sense of like, can I get a Kubernetes cluster? Can I get a service broker API server and controller integrated or running in that cluster? Can I do the things at a high level, like add a broker and then ensure that I can get the service classes back from it, provision one of those, bind to it, things manifest correctly in Kubernetes core, all that kind of stuff. So that's the pattern piece. And then the next one is that we need EDE tests that exercise all those different use cases that we have. And Kibbles and myself were on number 9. Morgan, Jeff, and myself are on number 10. We might need to parallelize or otherwise add people to that, since that work is fairly easy to parallelize. And then number 11 is the TPR storage backend for API server. Aaron is turning the crank on that as we speak. And the lovely TPR sausage is coming out of the machine with the crank. So that's in progress right now. And then CI and CD integrated with GitHub pull request process with publicly available test results. The test results are publicly available. Kibbles has a PR to fix some things. Kibbles, are you on? Kibbles! You do not have a microphone?
He's on chat.
Yeah, he's on chat. His mic is busted. Okay. So Kibbles is attached to that one, and then there's another placeholder for API aggregation, which I think is just getting to the point maybe where it's going to be ready for people to start playing with it. So we don't have anybody on that one yet, but honestly, it would be really fantastic to be at a point where we felt like we both had the need to get on it immediately, and then bandwidth for someone to start looking at it. So that's basically what we have at this point. Any questions about any of this? Anybody see your name against something that you're like, I don't want to do that?
Nope, looks great. All of mine are kind of the same thing. Use the client, test stuff.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. All right. Well, so I think that exhausts the agenda for today. If there's anything folks want to raise, we have a little time. Otherwise, we can all get back to turning that crank.
Crank.
All right. I'm going to end the meeting here. Thanks, everybody, for joining, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Peace out.
See ya.